Well, it turns out those contact lenses you're wearing, and I am wearing, do a lot more than just improve your vision. They radically alter the type of microorganisms and bacteria that live on your eyeballs.
Yeah, so in other words, there's a lot more happening in those eyeballs.
Yes, in my baby browns than most people think.
So this is all according to a recent preliminary study that could have some implications for 71 million people who wear contacts. Dr. Christopher Starr, an associate professor of ophthalmology at the Weill Cornell Medical Center, is here now to discuss this issue. And I hope everyone's ready for this, because this isn't exactly dinner talk, is it?
That's right.
But first, doctor, so tell us in general, this study found some bacteria that doesn't normally live in the eye, correct?
Yes. It's important to note that it is a small study. Like you said, preliminary data. Only 20 people were enrolled in the study, and it was discussed at a meeting. It hasn't been published in a peer-reviewed journal yet, so it's always important to take that data somewhat with a grain of salt. That being said, it was a very interesting study, and there were some very interesting results. What they did was they looked at, in these 20 patients, 9 people wore contacts and the other 11 didn't. And they took swabs of different parts of the eye and the eyelid skin. And then they did very sophisticated genetic testing on all of the bacteria to identify the different types of bacteria. And they found upwards of over 5,000 unique types of bacteria that reside on the eyeballs of both contact lens wearers and non-contact lens wearers, mind you. And so that was illuminating and eye-opening,
Say the least. And when you say unique, in other words, this bacteria that we saw that graphic there, 5,200 plus different types of bacteria on the surface of the eye and then also underneath the eyelid. You don't find that bacteria anywhere else in the body.
No, a lot of those bacteria are ubiquitous. They're everywhere. They're on different parts of the body. And I would imagine that if we did a similar study on other parts of the body, we'd find a large variety of bacteria as well. But what was striking about this was that not only are there that many different bacteria living on the eye and the eyelid skin, but one of the interesting discrepancies between contact lens wearers and non-contact lens wearers was that the bacteria that was on the surface of the eye in those who wear contacts was very similar to what we find on the eyelids and the skin.
All right, so let's talk specifics. What did you find? What kind of bacteria?
Of those bacteria that live on the eye in contact lens wearers, there were 4 that were found in a 3-fold higher incidence in contact lens wearers than non-contacts. And of those 3, well, 2 of them are no big deal. One of them.
What about this one on the screen? Methylobacterium.
Sewage?
Yeah, that sounds gross. And the lactobacillus as well. Neither of those are very commonly associated with bad eye infections. Very rare. So those that don't concern me as much.
What about these?
The other 2, Acinetobacter and Pseudomonas. Acinetobacter, to some degree, can cause infections, but again, very rarely do we see that. Pseudomonas. That worries me. That scares me. When I saw that, my eyes went doing. Because Pseudomonas is a well-known, very aggressive cause of really bad eye infections.
Like
corneal infection, no, worse. Corneal ulcers.
Wow.
And also very commonly associated and seen in people who wear contact lenses. So when we see somebody who comes in and says, gee, I slept in my contacts last night and I woke up with pain and redness and sensitivity, and we see a white spot on their cornea, my first fear is, oh gosh, this might be Pseudomonas. And in bad scenarios, it can actually eat right through the cornea, get into the eye, and in rare cases, but catastrophic cases, we can lose an eyeball and go blind.
All right, so what are some of the other bacteria that concerned you?
Yeah, so well, that was the biggest one. That was by far and away the scariest. One of the other interesting outcomes of the study, though, and again, it's a small study, was that the bacteria Staph aureus, you've all heard of, MRSA, the big scary superbug. The Staph species were actually more common in non-contact lens wearers. So, yeah, in this study. Again, it's a small study, and Staph is also a common cause of contact lens related infections. So you got to take the results, somewhat, remember it's a small study. And further studies are needed for sure.
All right, but given that, what do you recommend?
Yes, so probably the safest bet with contact lenses are the daily lenses. You take them, you put them in a fresh pair in the morning. At the end of the day, toss it in the garbage. The next day, open up a fresh one. No cleaning is necessary, no rubbing or disinfectants. those are the safest if handled correctly. But in general, we don't recommend sleeping in contact lenses. And we also recommend, of course, cleaning. If you're going to wear, say, a 2-week lens, which most commonly people wear 2-week lenses or 1-month lenses that have to be taken out every night.
Right.
And it is very important that those lenses be cleaned appropriately.
And what is cleaning appropriately? In other words, I sometimes will pop them out. It says no rinse on the box, and so I just pop them out, put them in the solution, give it a little bit of this.
Yes, the no rinse thing, right. So there are these multi-purpose solutions that one can just put in the multi-purpose solution, let it sit overnight. And that probably does a decent job, but it's not. It could be way better. And by way better, I mean you really want to rinse, rub and rinse. That's what we call it, rub and rinse. You take it out, you put it on your hand. Of course, you've cleaned your hands very carefully with soap and water, and then used a lint-free towel, clean towel to dry.
So much involved here.
This is why people want to sleep in their contact lenses. And then you want to rub the inside and the outside, flip it over and rub, because that really loosens up a lot of that built-up proteins and bacteria and all the things that stick to the lenses. And then you rinse it again with a multi-purpose solution, and then you put it in your solution overnight.
You need to give your eyes a break from wearing, even if you're wearing a 2-week or a 1-month lens, can you use tap water if you need to?
No, you cannot use tap water.
Thank you. Thank you.
Even I know that.
That's a good. It's a good question, because some people
what
don't.
What about Evian?
No, God, no water. So
no
this is actually very important. Water of all kinds.
Okay.
Certainly tap water, bottled water, all water.
Yeah.
Carries a lot of germs. And you guys actually did a piece a little while ago about tap water and sterilization. But all water carries some pretty nasty bugs, bacteria, one of which is called acanthamoeba, which causes another really horrible infection in the eyes. And so the recommendation is, if you're showering, bathing, hot tubs, pools, ocean, and you're a contact lens wearer, take out your lenses before you do those things. Again, it's not very convenient. It's hard to wear glasses in the shower. But at the same time, the risk of infection is very high in those who get water in their eye on top of contact lenses. So we definitely recommend against that.
In general, though, should you give your eyes a break?
If you're tolerating the contact lenses well and you don't have any symptoms, and you can go a whole day without any fatigue or irritation or dryness at the end of the day, it's okay to wear your contact lenses. If they fit well, if you're tolerating the solutions and the materials, there's no reason to not wear your lenses all day, every day.
Really, legitimately, do I need to have my eyes checked every year for you?
I
know, but we're doing an interview, and it's like, when I'm talking to an ophthalmologist, he's gonna tell me what, because he's treating me, and he's, but here is from a journalist to a doctor, what is your...
Yeah, so I mean, I think of it.
Control them to Vlad, just buy new contact money.
I think of that yearly renewal. Very similar to the way I think of, say, expiration dates on a milk carton or something.
That's a way to get me.
Could you go a little longer? Sure. Are you going to get away with it most of the time? Yeah. But if you have one sour thing of milk and you get sick from it,
and you know what happens then.
That's sort of the, let's not talk about that.
Dark glasses on
but that's kind of it's safer, to have this reevaluated every year to prevent all these potentially devastating complications that can happen with contact lenses and virtually anything that you put in your eye.
Well. As
really
you
informative
said,
for us, and I think our audience. Absolutely.
Eye-opening.
Yes. Very good, Chris.
Dr. Christopher Starr. That was great. Great discussion.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Dr. Starr. Thank you.